Speak up until justice wakes up. Greetings, ImPowered Global TV viewers. I am Denise Barrett, CEO and founder of ImPowered Global TV. Thank you for joining me today. We will continue the segment of the series, Speak Up Until Justice Wakes Up, over the next 4 to 6 weeks. This series is dedicated to my late father, who is still awaiting justice for his grueling death the week of July 27th, 2020. With that being said, I will continue to speak up until justice wakes up, hoping that you will do the same. Welcome back, ImPowered Global family, and thank you so much for tuning in. I am Evangelist Denise Barrett, CEO and founder of ImPowered Global TV. Today, our topic is Speaking Up Until Justice Wakes Up. And I have a very special guest here with us today who lives by this movement wholeheartedly. ImPowered Global family, please help me with welcoming, based out of Chicago, business owner and CEO and founder of I'm Telling Don't Shoot, Mr. Early Walker.
Hi, thanks for having me, Evangelist.
Hey there, Mr. Walker. How you doing?
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well on this happy day. And I really want to thank you for joining us. It is absolutely amazing to have you on the show as our guest. And so we welcome you with open arms on today, Mr. Walker. And so I got to tell you, my first word for you, and maybe it should be multiple words, but my first word for you is wow. 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 I mean, you have helped so many people in the worst types of crises. And so I got to tell your story a little bit, if I may. Can I tell your story a little bit?
Absolutely.
At the onset of Corona in Chicago, where there were approximately 3,460 plus cases of Corona, you and your team delivered over 200 packages of food daily. I mean, you can't beat this. You didn't just sit around and watch. You all were in action. Not only that, even back in January of this year, you helped a family when the tragic death of 21-year-old Andrea Studemeyer's mother was brutally murdered, and left her to care for two younger sister and brother, without having a car or a home. And guess what? You and your team stepped in again, and you blessed them with a new home and a car. That's even more action. And look, ImPowered Global family, we can't even stop right there. Wait a minute. We got to go here, because Mr. Walker also, he also organized a march in Chicago and called it I Have a Black Son. So I got to give you a round of applause right now, because that's a double wow. So, I mean, you're welcome. No, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. And I tell you, Mr. Walker, all of these things are so near and dear to my heart. And so that's why I'm so excited to be able to talk with you. It almost feels like we've kind of crossed the journey a little bit here. And as far as my history, which I know you've done some research on, my history and my passion has driven me to make a change in the community. It feels like, we're just kindred spirits, just in different parts of the globe here. So again, thank you so much, Mr. Walker.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about your journey. Tell me a little bit, because we want to really talk to you and find out more about your journey, your history of helping individuals and families. And, really, if you can kind of zone in on what was it that called you to such passionate action of speaking up for justice?
Well, I've always been on the realm of helping individuals. As you know, Chicago is unfortunately labeled as a city of violence. And so I've always been on the end of helping individuals, whether it be kids or parents that have lost their significant loved ones to gun violence. And so for the last few years, I've engaged with the community because, oftentimes we forget about the after effects that the violence
Right.
has for families. And so that's pretty much kind of been my base for my mission. I mean, I have engaged in several other things. Flint, Michigan, when they had the water crisis, Houston, when they had the hurricane. But for the most part, as it relates to Chicago, I've engaged myself, as it relates to family members when they lose loved ones to gun violence, specifically parents that have lost their kids or kids that have
Right.
lost their parents. And so just with the recent uptick in violence that we have had as of late, I just, and not even so much the uptick of violence, but more or less the uptick of violence as it relates to our youth, our kids. We have been, I'm pretty sure you guys have been hearing, we have been losing our children at a significant and alarming rate,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
pretty much has caused me to step up. As I often say, it's not just the police department's job. It's not just the mayor's job, but it's everyone's job. And one of the
Amen.
things that, yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was hopefully somehow put a fire, to my fellow business leaders, to community leaders. I mean, because, it's gotten to the point where no one is doing anything.
Mhm.
Everyone is kind of blaming the police, everyone is blaming the mayor. And so I said, okay, well, let me step up, let me start an initiative. And that's pretty much kind of how I'm telling Don't Shoot, started. I, reached out to some of my business leaders in the community and I said, hey, I got an idea. Is this something that you guys will be willing to stand with me? And gratefully, I had some of them that, definitely said absolutely, and so we have basically been putting our money where our mouth is. We've been putting our dollars, basically as it relates to the shootings, we have been putting up high end or high profile reward
Yeah.
monies with the intentions or the hopes of these killers turning themselves in, or I should say, the community speaking up.
Right. And I definitely want to talk to you more about the community speaking up in a second because that's a really critical point to the success of your movement. I do have a question for you. I'm going to go back just a little bit, rewind just a little bit about your journey. Have there been any obstacles that you've had in that you've had to overcome in jumpstarting this new movement of I'm telling, don't shoot? Any obstacles?
Yeah, we've been getting, some critics, of course, with anything you do. We have people tell
Yeah.
us we're crazy. What if these people come looking for you? I mean, I've heard everything.
Wow.
You should have put your face out there. Maybe you should just send some type of release so they don't know who it's coming from. But I wanted to spearhead this. I wanted to get in front of this. I wanted it to be to where people see that, hey,
Wow.
we're concerned too. And being this a spiritual show, the Bible says God is not giving us a spirit of fear. I wanted, us to, stand up to, these devils. I mean, and that's really what they are. I mean, here it is. You got anytime you have individuals that are taking the lives of kids,
Mm,
nothing more than a devil. And so I wanted to, show the devil, hey, we're not scared, we're not
That's
afraid.
right. We
We're
ain't
gonna
never
come back.
scared, right?
There you go. And it's strength in numbers. I mean, it's when when it's two or three, more gather. So hey, so I wanted it to be not just an individual effect, which normally a lot of my initiatives are individually based. I mean, I spearhead them. Normally, this is probably the first time I've actually done something where I've galvanized and I've called other individuals together because there is strength in numbers.
right, there is. There's definitely strength in numbers, and this is your organization is an organization that works as an incentive for people. As works as an incentive, that's right, for people to report these shootings. And and I can say this is truly an initiative that's needed, not just in Chicago. I mean, you've started something here, Mr. Walker, because it's not just for Chicago, but it's really an initiative that should be, globally, right? A powerful movement with this. So you know what? I say ixnay to the naysayers. I mean, come on. I mean, you can either sit down and shut up and say nothing, or you can speak up and make some action. And so this is definitely a powerful movement in speaking up until justice wakes up. And so I got to say it, say their name. You've got 7-year-old Natalie Wallace, right? You had 3-year-old Makai James, 14-year-old Fernando Jones, 13-year-old Amaria Jones. You had 10-year-old Lena Nunez. And let's not forget 1-year-old Sincere Gaston. Just a few of our babies that have died to gun violence. And so, you know what, you're right, my brother. There's definitely strength in numbers, and there's so much more we want to talk to you about. So we're going to take a break, okay? I tell you right now, 28 minutes and 30 seconds is not enough to really pick your brain, but we're going to do our best. And but we'll be back in just a few minutes, okay? Family, we'll be right back, and we've got more with Mr. Early Walker.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
Cannot breathe. And for minutes that goes on where he says that they cannot breathe.
Living life, feeling good inside. Ask me why, it ain't no surprise. We got the tea, good for you and me. Kings and queens, check out Ebony. Cancer, diabetes, STDs, and infertility. Endometriosis, vaginosis, weight loss, and fatigue. It's what we do, it's made for me and you. It's that rejuvenating feeling, gotta come and get your healing. Get your healing. Ebony, healing.
We're back, family. Hey there. Hey, ImPowered Mission TV family. We are back with Mr. Early Walker, and we were just right before the break saying their names. Many of our babies that have died due to gun violence, and Mr. Early Walker and his team are part of the movement of speaking up until justice wakes up. And so I got to tell you, we were just talking about fear before the break, and I just don't get it sometimes. I don't get it, and maybe it's just Denise. Why would people not want to speak up, even if there weren't an incentive? Okay, I mean, these are our babies. I mean, many of these children haven't even had an opportunity to live life, at its fullest, and not even to just really experience life. And here we are, their life is cut short. So, I mean, Mr. Early, tell me, what would you say are people's fear when you're even giving them an opportunity to speak up in this type of manner for justice? I mean, what is their fear even when there's an incentive that's attached to this movement?
Well, there are a couple of things. First and foremost, of course, the community has developed what we call a code of silence, and pretty much, it's fear is simple. I mean, they're scared of retaliation. Unfortunately, our justice systems, our judicial systems have some work to do, especially as it relates to the witness protection programs. Oftentimes we want these individuals to speak up, but we forget about the after effects. Here it is. I mean, we have a witness protection program where, these individuals speak up, and literally, depending on some of the charges, I mean, the individuals are able to bond out. Their attorneys get privileged information as relates to who are the witnesses, where they stay,
Wow.
where they live. So that actually is something else that I've been on the forefront as it relates to the state's attorney's office here, because we are going to need a reform witness protection program as well, because we can't ask for these individuals to speak up, and we can't ask for them to say something, and here it is, they're stuck in the same neighborhoods, which is one of the reasons why our reward money is more significant, and also another difference in our reward money versus the average reward money is that, aside from the amount, we don't wait for conviction. So as long as we can get approved charges from the state's attorneys, you actually get a nice portion of the money. Not all, because we want you to come to court and we want that person to be fully prosecuted, but you do get a nice portion of the funds, so that those funds can go to helping you move, helping you relocate, which is a large portion of it as well, because I mean, once the individual speaks, of course, even with witness protection, they don't want to live in that area anymore. Witness
Right. I
protection only
bet
takes them
not.
out of the area
Right.
doing the case,
Right.
but it doesn't, take them out of the community. And so we want to be able to help with that as well, which we, have been, very successful in it as well. So.
So not only are they receiving an incentive for speaking up, okay, and making sure that you do your level set best to make sure there's some type of protection there for them. You're also helping them with transitioning to another area, like another community, versus staying in there. Wow.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And so we are pleased. We just literally had a couple of huge breaks as it relates to our new organization, which is
Okay.
literally not even 30 days old yet. Just recently, our first huge break, we actually had someone call in with an anonymous tip, and we recovered a fully automatic weapon, M16 rifle. And
Okay.
so we were
Okay.
ecstatic about that because, of course, these are the guns that are being used in these shootings. And then just
Okay.
literally a few days ago, with the help of the community, we were able to catch the killer of 9-year-old Janari Ricks,
Oh.
which he was gunned down in what we call our Cabrini Greens area.
Okay.
And and so there is progress. I mean, the community is fed up as well. People are tired, of the shootings, of the killings as it relates to our kids, and that's what we want. I mean, it's a matter of putting fire under these, individuals in the community to say enough is enough.
That's right. That's right. I am so just pleased to hear that there was some success, and that it sounds, I hear it in your voice that, that you are proud as well. I mean, that's awesome to really know that the initiatives, the movement that you've got going out there is reaping some reward and some success, and that families are getting some closure. Right? That's what it's all about. And what was the time frame from the moment that crime happened to you were able to, your team was able to get that weapon recovered and get some closure on that particular case? What was the time frame?
The weapon, we had an individual call in anonymously and pretty much said, "Hey, look, we see what you guys are doing, and we bought this particular weapon, for protection." And
Okay.
they pretty much said, "Hey, look, we want to get rid of it now. We don't want to retaliate. We don't want to engage as it relates to the
Right.
violence." And so we
Okay.
pretty much walked them through the whole process along with the help of CPD, and gave them a location, vicinity. And we say, "Hey, look, no questions asked. We just want the gun. We want the gun off the street." So we were definitely pleased with that. Also, as it relates to the shooting, literally within days, we started getting calls from the tip line, literally the day after the shooting occurred.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm talking about, we've gotten several calls, several tips on all of our shootings. But this particular case was different because all the individuals were from the community, and they made it a point to say that, and that made me feel so proud because that's what it's going to take. It's going
Right.
to take us getting fed up. Unfortunately, we know who these shooters are. We know who these killers are. These parents, these grandparents, these aunties. Look, they know. Hey, the hours and the times that their
That's
family members are
right.
out in the streets. They know. Hey, and so that's what it's going to take. We can't keep just sitting back and not saying anything and just turning a deaf ear because unfortunately we're going to continue to lose our kids. And so and I mean, and we've done several other efforts. I launched a employment initiative program. We were able to hire over 200 youth in some of our impoverished communities in Chicago.
Right.
So I was pleased and happy with that. We've actually partnered with several of our local security agencies to actually
Right.
pay them to do some patrolling to kind of be additional sets of eyes and ears so that everything is not just on the police. So we have been having, huge success rates. We are definitely excited. I mean, like I said, we are pretty much a month old.
A
And we
month
have
old,
been
and I
able to,
thought you guys were a lot longer, been
no,
in existence a lot longer. And I tell you what, earlier, I truly hate to cut you off. I've got to cut you off and me off because I'm about to go in on what you just said. But we'll be right back because we've got a few more minutes, and I've got a lot more to ask you, and I actually have a lot more to say. Family, we'll be right back with Mr. Early Walker. Please stay tuned.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
Cannot breathe. And for minutes that goes on where he said that he cannot breathe.
You know, I'm a soldieress and I'm a warrior, I should say, and I give all the glory to God. I became an advocate for sexual assault awareness and domestic violence awareness because I am a survivor of both of those heinous crimes. And God spoke to me very clearly saying, I allowed you to get through both of these heinous crimes. I allowed you to make it through both of these storms so that you could be the voice for the voiceless. Our young girls, our teenagers, our ladies, our women all around the world needed to know that they can make it through anything. And I am a walking miracle. A copy of my autobiography titled Unapologetically Me, Powered for His Purpose, is waiting for you at www.ImPowerYourPower.com/shop. Again, www.ImPowerYourPower.com/shop. 100% of the proceeds are donated to our ImPowered Butterfly Leadership Initiative. Check us out on the website, www.ImPowerYourPower.com. Welcome back, ImPowered Global TV family. I'm here having a brief conversation with Mr. Early Walker from Chicago. He is the CEO and founder of I'm Telling, Don't Shoot. And he's our special guest here today as we talk about speaking up until justice wakes up. And we're in our last few minutes of this segment. I just wanted to say one thing out there, and I see now in my life right now what has happened with my dad. My dad was brutally murdered over 2 weeks ago. And so this right here is really hit close to home. And so I'm really grateful for individuals like Mr. Early Walker, who is creating a movement in his state that is going to be infectious across this country, which is my prayer, because so many of us are afraid to speak up. And then so many of our loved ones, they're murdered. If they're murdered or something happens like this, if no one speaks up, you really can never get closure about what happened to your loved one. So I'm excited about what you are doing, Mr. Walker. I thank God for your movement and your initiatives out there and your team. And I pray that many of us will begin to speak up and speak out until justice wakes up. And so I have two questions for you that I'd ask you to answer really briefly for me. I got a little kind of choked up there about my dad, so I won't apologize for that. What resources do you have available if anyone wants to speak up, and how do they contact you, Mr. Walker?
Well, first and foremost, you definitely have my sincerest condolences. I'm so sorry about the loss of your father. Let me ask you this. What was the killer found?
No.
Wow.
Killer was not found.
Okay, so
the community knows who the killers are.
Wow. So here's what I want to do first. This is not scripted. I had no idea, but I'm Telling Don't Shoot wants to offer a $5,000 reward. I don't know if there's a reward that's been placed, but I want to put $5,000 up for our organization. Absolutely. If anyone wants to get involved, they can visit our website, www.ImTellingDon'tShoot.com, www.ImTellingDon'tShoot.com. And then also our tip line is 708-265-9400, 708-265-9400. But it has to start, with home first. And, I definitely would be remiss to have this organization and not get involved, as it relates to, your dad. Because it's not, this initiative is not just, about, our children. Of course, that is, one of the reasons why we started this initiative, but it's about innocent bystanders getting killed. It's about, people losing their lives that had the rest of their lives, to live, and so,
right.
So definitely our hearts and our prayers are definitely with you. You definitely have my deepest condolences, and anything else we can do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Walker. That means the world to me, and I know it means the world to our 87 million viewers right now. I have one last question for you because we've just got a few seconds. How do other business leaders or support organizations get involved in I'm Telling, Don't Shoot, or donate to the movement? Would they also call that number that you provided and go to the website?
Yeah, so that number is 708-265-9400 again, and our website is www.imtellingdon'tshoot.com. On there is a link for anyone that wants to donate. We are a 501c3 as well. So anybody that wants to have tons of money that they don't know what to do with,
or they know what to do with, right? Bring it on, bring it on.
Yes,
So family, you heard it here today at ImPowered Mission TV, our series, Speak Up Until Justice Wakes Up with Mr. Early Walker. Please make a note of it. What's so awesome about technology, you can rewind and get that website and that phone number. Mr. Walker, we thank you, and I pray that we can have this conversation again because we know that you're going to have much more success in this movement. Be blessed.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.